So, guys, let's get into another segment of Let's Get into the Bible. So, today, guys, I want to talk about Abraham the Babylonian. Right? Very interesting topic. Most of us who knows Abraham, the stuff that we know about Abraham is that Abraham had a wife. Her name was Sarah, right? But Sarah couldn't have any children. So Sarah have told Abraham that it's okay, just paraphrasing, it's okay to have a child with our maiden lady. Who was Hagar at the time? Hagar was an Egyptian lady. So this is just a background of Abraham. Abraham was also a man of God, a man of faith, great faith, and he was also the progenitor of the Israelites, right? Through Jacob. This is what we know about Abraham in terms of his background. So, guys, I'm going to get into the information. Just giving you a background of Abraham. I'm going to get into a background of him being a Babylonian. So, please, guys, subscribe to this channel. Subscribe, share, like, and hit the notification bell. All right. So, guys, who are the Chaldeans and the Babylonians, right? We need to figure out who are the Chaldeans and who are the Babylonians, because we know that Abraham was a Babylonian and a Chaldean, right? And these are mentioned in the Bible several different times. I'm just going to take a few, look at a few books in the Bible in Jeremiah and Second Kings. So here I'm going to go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 21 and verse 4. So in Jeremiah chapter 21 and verse 4 it says, "Thus said the Lord God of Israel, Behold, I will turn back the weapons of war that are in your hands, wherewith ye fight against the king of Babylon." Here we see Babylon mentioned here. "And against the Chaldeans." Right? So they're fighting against the king of Babylon and the Chaldeans, which are the same people. Let's go to another book of the Bible, where we can see who the Chaldeans were and who the Babylonians were, right? So we're going to look at 2 Kings chapter 25, verse 10 and 11. 25 verses 10 and 11, right? And all the army of the Chaldees that were with the captain of the guard break down the walls of Jerusalem round about. Now the rest of the people that were left in the city, and the fugitives that fell away to the king of Babylon, with the remnant of the multitude, did Nebuchadnezzar, the captain of the guard, carry away. This is just giving you some ideas and some information as who the Chaldeans and the Babylonians were, that they were the same people. All right. Look at the book of Genesis. We're going to go to Genesis chapter 11 to see where the Chaldean people are coming from and also where Abraham was coming from. So Genesis chapter 11. And we're going to start at, let's say, verse 8. Shem's descendants, right? So this might be a little bit tedious, guys. I'm just going to read through it briefly, and I'll just stop and make a few key points as I go by. But it's a little bit tedious going through all of this stuff. But anyways, let's see where the Chaldeans and the people and the Babylonians, where they're coming from, all right? These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years and begat sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 35 years and begat Selah. And Arphaxad lived after he begat Selah 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Selah lived 30 years and begat Eber. And Selah lived after he begat Eber 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Eber lived 430 years and begat Peleg. So let's just skip down to Nahor in verse 23. And Seruj lived after he begat Nahor 200 years and begat sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 29 years and begat Terah. And Nahor lived after he begat Terah 190 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years, and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. So here we have Terah, who got Abram, right? Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran begot Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity in Ur of the Chaldees. Right? So we're looking at the generations of Abram coming from his father, and we're seeing here that Haran died in the land of his nativity, which is Ur of the Chaldees. This was Abraham's family members, and this was where Abraham was living. And Abraham and Nahor took them wives. The names of Abraham's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife, Micah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Micah, and the father of Isaac, of Ishka. But Sarai was barren, she had no child. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go in the land of Canaan, and they came unto Haran and dwelt there. So here we're looking at Abram, who is one of the descendants of the Chaldees and the Babylonians, who is leaving Ur. Like the whole family, it looks like the whole family from Terah, Abram's dad, and Abram's wife, and Lot and his wife, they are leaving Ur of the Chaldees, which is Ur of the Babylonians. They're leaving their land, their native land. They're going down to Canaan, but they stopped in Haran, at Haran. So here we got the picture of the idea and the fact, historical evidence here from the Bible, that Abraham was a Chaldean. So where exactly was this place called Chaldees, Babylon, or of the Chaldees, that Abraham came from, right? Where did Abraham came from? Where is this land located? We're going to look at the book of Jubilees, chapter 9, verses 4 and 5, right? Let's look at Jubilees, chapter 9, verse 4 and 5. It says in verse 4, and for our that came for the third portion, all the land of the region of the Chaldees, to the east of the Euphrates, bordering on the Red Sea, and all the waters of the desert close to the tongue of the sea, which looks towards Egypt, and all the land of Lebanon, and Samir, and Ammana, to the border of the Euphrates. So here we're talking about this land that was given to Arphaxad, who was the progenitor of the father of Abraham, and that whole lineage of Semetic people. Abraham, Terah, the father of Abraham, going back down to Jacob, Isaac, and all of those guys. So we're talking about the land that was given to him. It says bordering on the Red Sea, right? So the only land that's bordering on the Red Sea and this side is Saudi Arabia. Modern Saudi Arabia. Guys, the map is like this. We're not 100% sure of all the borders and exactly where the borders were marked. As this is a modern day map, I can't assume. This is about 4,000 years ago that we're talking about, right? So who knows what it was back then. But this is what it is now, right? So bordering on the Red Sea, we know this is Saudi Arabia. So it says here, and for Arphaxad came for the third portion, all the land of the region of the Chaldees, right? Region of the Chaldees, to the east of the Euphrates, bordering on the Red Sea. So we're looking at pretty much all this land right here, bordering on the Red Sea, going towards the Euphrates, which is right here. There's the Tigris, there's the Euphrates in modern day Iraq. So we're looking at this place right here, Saudi Arabia and Lebanon as well, because it says bordering on the Red Sea and all the waters of the desert close to the tongue of the sea, which looks towards Egypt and the land of Lebanon. So here we have Egypt, the land that looks towards Egypt. So it must be all of this land right here. Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Lebanon, Israel, Iraq, and all of these places, right? As I said, the borders and territories might be different. This is a modern day map, but we're looking anywhere in this area around from the Mediterranean Sea, the Red Sea, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, going back down to the Euphrates. This is the land that he must be talking about. And as it says in verse 5, and for Aram came, and for Aram they came forth, the fourth portion, all the land of Mesopotamia between Tigris and the Euphrates, to the north of the Chaldees, to the border of the mountains of Ashur and the land of Arara. So here we're looking at Aram, another portion who came to Aram. And here then the Chaldees is mentioned in here. He has north of the Chaldees, which means that the Chaldees, Babylon, the land of Abraham's nativity, must be to the south. If this guy is getting Mesopotamia, and Mesopotamia, as you know, is the land between these two great rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates. So we're looking at this area right here, which is now, it looks like Syria and Iraq, right? Here we're looking at this area that's given to this guy, which is north of the Chaldees. So which means that the Chaldees has to be on the south of Mesopotamia, which is south of Euphrates and the Tigris River. So Ur of the Chaldees must be in this area right here. Based on this description in Jubilees chapter 9, verses 4 and 5. All right? So this is where Abraham came from, his native land. We know this is where the Semetic people were also living as well. Abraham, Terah, and his whole entire family. Obviously, they have moved, based on what the Bible have said, they have moved into Canaan at some point. But don't forget where they came from. Babylonians, they are Chaldeans, and they are also Semitic people.